Number 1. Agnosticism is indifference or apathy. Agnosticism is often misunderstood as a lack of interest or concern regarding religious or spiritual matters. In reality, agnosticism reflects a nuanced position on knowledge, asserting that the existence or non-existence of deities or ultimate realities cannot be definitively known based on current evidence. Agnostics may engage deeply in philosophical and theological discussions, but they withhold belief due to the absence of conclusive proof. This stance arises from epistemological humility rather than indifference. Agnostics acknowledge the limitations of human cognition in addressing metaphysical questions. They may actively seek understanding and engage in ethical or spiritual practices while maintaining skepticism about claims of absolute certainty. By the way, why did the agnostics struggle with math problems? Because they couldn't count on absolute answers. Number 2. Agnosticism is atheism. Agnosticism and atheism are frequently conflated, yet they address different aspects of belief and knowledge. Atheism is the lack of belief in gods or deities, while agnosticism focuses on the claim that knowledge about the existence or non-existence of such entities is unknown or unknowable. Agnostics do not necessarily reject the possibility of gods, but withhold judgment due to insufficient evidence. Thus, one can be an agnostic atheist, lacking belief in gods while asserting uncertainty about their existence, or an agnostic theist, believing in gods while acknowledging uncertainty about their nature or existence. Number 3. Agnosticism implies fence-sitting. There is a misconception that agnosticism reflects indecision or ambivalence. However, agnosticism is a principled stance rooted in epistemological humility. Agnostics recognize the complexity of metaphysical questions and the inherent limitations of human knowledge in addressing them. They may suspend belief in the absence of sufficient evidence, but can be decisive in other areas of life where empirical or logical reasoning provides clearer guidance. This stance allows for intellectual rigor and openness to new evidence while avoiding premature conclusions based on incomplete information. Number 4. Agnostics are undecided. Contrary to popular belief, agnostics can hold firm convictions in various aspects of life. Agnosticism specifically pertains to claims about gods or ultimate realities, emphasizing the lack of conclusive evidence rather than indecision. Agnostics may adopt a pragmatic approach, withholding belief until sufficient evidence emerges, while confidently navigating other spheres based on available information. This distinction underscores that agnosticism is a specific stance on knowledge claims rather than a generalized indecisiveness or lack of commitment in all matters. Number 5. Agnosticism rejects spirituality. Agnostics are sometimes portrayed as purely rationalistic or materialistic, dismissing all forms of spirituality. However, agnosticism is compatible with a wide range of spiritual beliefs and practices. Agnostics approach spirituality with an open mind while maintaining skepticism about metaphysical claims lacking empirical support. They may value spiritual experiences, ethical teachings, or communal rituals while remaining cautious about asserting knowledge claims regarding gods or ultimate realities. This perspective encourages dialogue and exploration across different spiritual traditions while prioritizing critical inquiry and intellectual honesty. Number 6. Agnosticism is a temporary state. Some view agnosticism as a transitional phase between belief and disbelief. However, for many agnostics, their position represents a thoughtful and enduring stance based on epistemological humility. Agnostics may actively seek evidence and engage in ongoing reflection while maintaining skepticism about claims of absolute knowledge. This perspective fosters intellectual humility and openness to new insights while recognizing the complexity of metaphysical questions. It's important to understand that agnosticism can be a stable philosophical position rather than a mere stepping stone to a definitive belief system. Number 7. Agnostics are agnostic about everything. There is a misconception that agnosticism extends to all areas of knowledge, implying universal skepticism. However, agnosticism specifically addresses metaphysical and theological questions regarding gods or ultimate realities. Agnostics acknowledge the limits of empirical evidence in these domains while embracing scientific inquiry and rational discourse in other fields. This nuanced approach allows agnostics to engage critically with specific claims about the divine without rejecting all forms of knowledge or inquiry. It reflects a balanced perspective that encourages intellectual rigor and humility in addressing complex philosophical issues. Number 8. Agnosticism is a form of skepticism. While agnosticism shares some elements with skepticism, such as questioning absolute certainty, it differs in focus and scope. Agnosticism pertains specifically to the claim that knowledge about gods or spiritual truths is unknown or unknowable based on current evidence. Agnostics may apply skepticism to claims of divine revelation or supernatural phenomena, while remaining open to new evidence or reasoned arguments. This stance encourages critical thinking and empirical inquiry while respecting diverse beliefs and perspectives on metaphysical questions. It underscores the distinction between skepticism as a broader philosophical approach and agnosticism as a specific stance on claims about the divine. Number 9. Agnosticism leads to nihilism. There is a misconception that agnosticism inevitably leads to nihilism or a belief in the lack of meaning. However, many agnostics find meaning and purpose through ethical frameworks, human relationships, and personal growth, independent of metaphysical beliefs about gods or ultimate realities. Agnosticism encourages individuals to explore and cultivate values that enhance personal well-being and contribute positively to society. This perspective emphasizes the diversity of sources from which individuals derive meaning, including philosophical reflection, cultural heritage, and social responsibility. It challenges the notion that agnosticism necessarily undermines existential meaning or ethical commitment. Number 10. Agnostics avoid religious discussion. Lastly, it's often assumed that agnostics shy away from religious or philosophical discussions. On the contrary, many agnostics actively engage in dialogue about beliefs, values, and ethical dilemmas, contributing diverse perspectives to discussions about spirituality and human experience. Agnosticism fosters an environment of intellectual curiosity and mutual respect, where individuals can explore and debate ideas without assuming a predefined position on the existence or nature of gods. This engagement reflects a commitment to understanding diverse viewpoints while navigating complex questions about faith, reason, and the human condition. Do you know why the agnostic astronauts have trouble on the moon? They couldn't take a leap of faith in zero gravity. Number 11. Agnostics are immoral. There is a misconception that agnostics lack moral values or ethical principles because they do not adhere to religious beliefs or doctrines. However, agnosticism itself does not dictate one's moral framework. Agnostics, like individuals of any belief system, derive moral guidance from various sources such as philosophical reasoning, cultural norms, personal experiences, and empathy. Many agnostics uphold strong ethical principles rooted in compassion, fairness, and respect for human dignity, irrespective of their stance on the existence of gods or ultimate realities. Number 12. Agnosticism is a lack of conviction or commitment. There's a misconception that agnosticism reflects a lack of conviction or commitment compared to religious or atheistic beliefs. However, agnosticism represents a reasoned stance on knowledge, emphasizing epistemological humility in the face of metaphysical uncertainty. Agnostics may hold deeply held values, ethical principles, and philosophical convictions while acknowledging the limits of human understanding in addressing questions about gods or ultimate realities. This perspective encourages critical reflection and openness to new insights, promoting intellectual engagement and personal growth within a framework of uncertainty. Number 13. Agnosticism is incompatible with religious belief. Some perceive agnosticism as fundamentally opposed to religious belief. However, agnosticism is compatible with various religious perspectives. Agnostics may approach religious doctrines with skepticism regarding claims about the existence or nature of deities, while still participating in religious practices for cultural, ethical, or communal reasons. This compatibility allows agnostics to engage meaningfully in religious communities while maintaining a critical stance towards metaphysical assertions. It highlights the diversity of beliefs and interpretations within religious traditions, accommodating agnosticism as a legitimate position within broader religious discourse. Now that we're done debunking misconceptions about agnosticism, let's delve into the truths about atheism. Join us in our next video where we dismantle common myths surrounding atheism, explore what atheism truly encompasses, debunk stereotypes, and uncover the diverse perspectives within atheistic beliefs. Whether you're religious, agnostic, or simply curious about different worldviews, this video promises to broaden your understanding. Let's foster open dialogue and deepen our insights into atheism.